with his audacious comment on the less glamorous side of being a celebrity. His honesty has been appreciated. He has been candid about the demands of fame, the mental toll of the business, and the sometimes funny nature of Hollywood relationships. Though being so outspoken hasn't exactly won him any popularity contests in Hollywood, where image and relationships are everything, I'd like to dedicate this award tonight to those who remind us of our virtues and the truth, because reality shows have distorted our idea of what a hero is or what the truth is in America. Imagine one of the best WNBA players ever breaking records and inspiring your team to an amazing turnaround season. Sounds crazy, right? Well, that's exactly what happened with Caitlin Clark and Sheryl Swoopes. On a recent podcast, Swoopes talked about the Indiana fever, and she said, "I think the Olympic break really helped Indiana. I'm going to give a shout out to Lexi Hull because I really like her." The ball was leathered by Lexi Hull during their match versus Seattle. Kelsey Mitchell is just shooting the basketball and stroking the ball. Earlier, Boston nearly achieved a triple-double, and if Indiana keeps up their current pace of play, they will also rise in the standings. However, there is one thing missing from her statement, or rather, someone who is correct, but she failed to mention in her entire analysis of the Fever's remarkable season swings. Clark. I don't know about you, but whenever I discuss a team that has completely turned around, I usually bring up the guy that is now leading the league in assists and has taken on a leadership role within the organization. However, it may just be me. The lack of talk about Clark is deafening, especially in light of the impact she's had on the WNBA as a whole. We're talking about sold-out arenas, sky-high TV ratings, and a buzz around the league that hasn't been seen in years. But this is where things get really interesting. As Swoopes plays a silent game, other WNBA legends are singing a very different tune. You're seeing Caitlin push the ball up the floor and make those decisive passes. As a result, I won't be surprised if the season goes on into playoff runs. There will undoubtedly be a noticeable difference in the playoffs if clubs begin to perform better. Bird isn't afraid to talk about Clark. She acknowledges that this team, led by Clark, has grown into a formidable force, one that, in Bird's own words, no one wants to play against in the playoffs. But let's take a closer look at this and consider whether there is more going on here. Some may argue that Swoopes' deliberate silence about Clark is a calculated move. After all, in the world of sports media, sometimes the most impactful statement is the one you don't make. By blatantly avoiding any mention of Clark, Swoopes unintentionally putting further emphasis on her. This is where things get really interesting though, as the drama plays out off the court. Let that sink in for a second. Clark led the Fever to a 2-1 start after the break and was named Player of the Week just this week. She averaged 26 points and 9.2 assists. As a rookie, let that sink in. It's performances like these that add intrigue to Swoopes' silence. How can you discuss a team's success without mentioning the player who is at the center of it all? However, Clark's impact on the WNBA as a whole may be the most telling aspect of this whole situation. She's bringing new eyes to the league, filling arenas, and creating a buzz that the WNBA hasn't seen in years. And that's something that can't be ignored, no matter how hard some may try. Let's change our focus and discuss the larger picture. While the WNBA, the drama surrounding Clark is undoubtedly fascinating. But it's just one aspect of a much bigger tale that's developing in the WNBA this season. Remember when we predicted that Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese would compete fiercely for Rookie of the Year? Well, it seems like that race may be coming to an end. Angel Reese is an incredible player with a bright future ahead of her. But here's the thing. Individual brilliance can only shine so brightly when your team is struggling. And unfortunately for Reese, that's exactly what's happening with the Chicago Sky. The Sky are having a difficult season to say the least. They're hanging on to the final playoff spot, and it looks more and more likely that they won't make it to the postseason at all. This isn't a criticism of Ray's. She's putting up impressive numbers, especially on the offensive boards, but overall, it's difficult to argue for Rookie of the Year when your team is at the bottom of the standings. On the other side, Clark is improving her squad as a whole in addition to her stellar individual performance. The Fever, once the league's punching bag, are suddenly in the playoffs, playing thrilling basketball, packing arenas, and dominating television. And the heart of it all is, you guessed it, Caitlin Clark. We're witnessing a great rookie season. We may be at the start of a new era in women's basketball. First, let's address the elephant in the room, the upcoming game that has everyone on the edge of their seats. This disparity in team performance will probably be the deciding factor in the Rookie of the Year race. It's not just about who has the best stats, but who's making the biggest impact on their team and the league as a whole. The Indiana Fever versus Chicago Sky game next week isn't just another one on the schedule. It's one of the most anticipated in recent WNBA history. And no, it's not simply because of the storyline surrounding Caitlin Clark and Angel Ree, though it certainly plays a part. This game partially depicts a conflict of narratives. On the one hand, there is Reese in the Sky, a team attempting to hold on to that last 8th seed. On the other hand, there is Clark and the Fever, the season's Cinderella tale, battling for a playoff position. The significance of this game extends beyond the standings. It's a showcase for the NBA's bright future, featuring two of its most promising players facing off. The excitement surrounding this game is unmatched and is likely to draw attention from a much wider audience than the league's typical fan base. But let's take a closer look at the bigger picture. The Caitlin Clark impact has the ability to drastically alter the WNBA's environment, not just one player or one season. Fans of the game are getting more engaged in the narratives around the teams and individuals with to Clark's success. This expanded fan base might bring in more money for the league, which could then translate into higher player salaries, enhanced amenities, and more funding for promotion and growth. Furthermore, the success of Clark is motivating the next generation of athletes. Young girls watching Clark dominate on the court are seeing what's possible in women's basketball. This could lead to a new wave of talent in the coming years, further elevating the level of play in the WNBA. But it's not all smooth sailing. The attention Clark is receiving has also sparked important conversations about equity in the league. Questions are being raised about marketing, player promotion, and how the WNBA can ensure that all of its stars, not just the most hyped rookies, get the recognition they deserve. And let's not forget about the veterans. While some have embraced Clark's impact, others seem more hesitant. This tension between the old guard and the new generation is something the league will need to navigate carefully as we look to the future. One thing is clear: the WNBA is at a crucial juncture. The decisions made now, how to market the league, how to support all of its players, how to capitalize on this new attention, will shape the future of women's basketball for years to come. And at the center of it all, a rookie from Iowa who's not just playing the game, but changing it. Love her or hate her, you can't ignore her. You may be thinking that Caitlin Clark isn't only the WNBA season's star, she may also be the league's future. The WNBA is at a tipping point. The league has been growing steadily over the years, but what we're seeing with Caitlin Clark could be the catalyst for explosive growth outside of these two practices. All of this is fascinating, but why should I care? Well, let me tell you what's happening in the WNBA right now. It's not just about basketball, it's about witnessing history being made. It's about seeing a sport evolve right before our eyes. Trust me, you don't want to miss what comes next. She's the ultimate competitor after all, and she inspires everybody around her to have the same mindset, which is fantastic as we approach this pivotal part of the season with the playoffs approaching and emotions high. Ascending, there's no denying that the WNBA will never be the same. And because everyone gets to experience this pivotal period in sports history, don't simply watch it happen. First things first, if you haven't already put the Indiana Fever versus Chicago Sky game on your calendar, do so now. This isn't just any old matchup. It's a pivotal moment for the league. And whether you're a fan of excellent basketball or you're on Team Clark or Reese, this is a game you won't want to miss. But why stop there? Learn more about the WNBA, interact with these up-and-coming stars on social media, and convince the world that women's basketball is a must-watch form of entertainment. If you love this in-depth look at WNBA drama, click the subscribe button right now. We're dedicated to provide you with the most informed and enjoyable coverage of women's basketball, and I can assure you that it will be an exciting journey. Leave a remark below with your opinions. Are you on Team Clark or Team Reese? Do you believe Sheryl's quiet is warranted, or is she failing to see the wider picture? We value your opinion in this dialogue, so please feel free to share it. Thank you for viewing.